Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap, Student to Engineer, where STEM professionals provide advice to students. Today we're going to be doing a data deep dive into Columbia University. This was a request, so let us know if you have any other universities that you'd like us to look into. But let's get right into it. All right, so if you search for Columbia University student outcomes, you're going to get a page that talks about outcomes, which I'll go through first. And then if you dig a little bit more, you'll find data and statistics and then a report specifically for their engineering school. So I'll go through each of those to let you know what's available and give you my thoughts on what is here. If you go all the way to the bottom, they have some really high level pieces of information about what graduates do after they're here. So this is not specifically to engineering, so it's a little bit hard to tell who's what and what grads go where. But one of the things I've talked about in other videos is industries are important. So you can look here and see that they've listed top industries. Internet and software management, consulting, civil engineering are a few of those. So if you are particularly interested in any of these industries, it's a good indication that maybe Columbia is a good spot for you. What you'll notice is not here are things like aerospace, which we've seen in a lot of other colleges, industries. And I think the best thing to do with this is just to compare what's not here. You'll see nonprofit is here that I have not seen on other engineering schools. Again, this is not specifically for engineering, so I'm not sure which Columbia grads are going here. And then I'm going to go down to top roles. This is good to understand where graduates fit within those industries that we're talking about. So like civil and mechanical engineers would go directly into an industry that's civil engineering, but other things like healthcare, management consulting, what are those grads doing? They're doing things like finance consulting, data analytics, and research. So there's not a whole lot of specifically design things that I'm seeing in here. That may just be because of the way engineering fits within the entire university, but it may also be an indication of what they're preparing their grads for. Okay, and then top organizations, I'll just point out a few of them here. So I'm going to just talk about Morgan Stanley, McKinsey and Company, Goldman Sachs. These are a lot of Accenture. These are companies where you're going to be doing a lot of consulting, management consulting type companies, finance, those type of industries. So when I graduated with a degree in civil engineering in the 90s, that was when some of these consulting firms were big. They're still very big. But I got an offer from one of them, and the way that they looked at things is if you had a engineering degree and if you were from a top tier university, you were going to be offered more money than if you had another type of degree from maybe a lower tier university. So if I had followed that path, that would have meant that I did not use specifically anything that I learned in school. That's not a bad thing. There are a lot of people who graduate with all sorts of degrees, and by the time they're done, they say, you know, I'd like to do something a little different. But this is not, these results and what I'm seeing here don't point to a lot of hardcore design being done afterwards, and that may be very good for you, or it may be something that is a little bit of concern to you. Okay, so I'm going to go over to data and statistics. This is from their Columbia University Center for Career Education. Again, not specific to engineering. It's really just some data points where they are kind of bragging about how much students get out of working with the Career Center, how much they like that, you know, what type of things that students can expect if they're going to school there. They can expect that they can use a thing called quick questions to find a friend. They can find that the career advising session is helpful, those types of things. Not entirely useful, I would say, but a good indication that at least the school is um, advertising that their career education center is worth it. The last thing available on their website is a report from the Center for Career Education. This is looking at the 2022 graduates. You can see on the top that it covers grads from October 21 to May of 22, and that 74% of the people who could have responded responded for the report, which is a statistically significant number, so that's good. Satisfies us for saying that whatever's on here is probably representative of all of the grads. So to start in the noteworthy trends, 90% of graduates are employed or going to grad school. We'll get to that in a little bit below in the post-grad plans. Just about 70% reported total compensation range above 70,000. If we knew for sure that this data was just for engineering, I would say that's not a great number. But not knowing what the graduates have degrees in is a little bit hard to know if that's good data. But for a school like Columbia with a good reputation, I would say this is definitely not a number that says to me that grads from Columbia are making more than anyone else. And then the thing I want to note is the number of respondents or percent of respondents have one or more internships or research opportunities. So this number is 56.8%. That is not a good number. To put that in perspective, what we're saying is that for students who should have 3 summers while they're in a 4-year program, of those 3 summers, most of the students are not doing an internship, not doing research for most of the time. About a little over half of the students are spending 1 summer doing research or internship. In contrast, if you look at, let's just say Purdue data, 87% of the students that go to Purdue have at least 1 internship. That does not include research opportunities, and I don't think it includes co-ops. And if you also look at the Purdue data, which I will provide a link to the video for that here, about a third of those students have 3 internships. So they're spending every single summer in an internship, where Columbia students are much less likely to get that experience while they're in school. So that's an alarming number to me, and is concerning to me that that Columbia doesn't connect their students with more research or internship opportunities. Okay, so let's go down to the rest of this data. Post-grad plans, 77.7% are working and only 12% going to grad school. So it doesn't look like Columbia is a school that focuses on producing grad students. If you look at their Cornell video, you'll see that they produce far greater percent of their grads go to grad school. So they're focusing more on prepping students for grad school. So this is definitely a focus on working, but the number that concerns me is this still looking as 8.5%. If you look at a number of the other schools, you'll see still looking is about like maybe 2%. So this is really telling you that if you graduate from Columbia University with a degree, the likelihood that you'll get a job within 6 months of graduation or be solidly in school is 91%. I'd like to see that at 95, 98% to be confident this is a good place to go and get a new job right out of school. Okay, we look at total compensation. They did say up above that 70% are making above 70,000. So that's basically the line right here. And there are a number of grads that are making that 100 and 109 a year range. So if we look at the organizations and the type of industry students are going into, you can see probably why that is happening. There are a lot of like Morgan Stanley, McKinsey and Company, Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, those type of companies that do a lot of management consulting. consulting is a top job function. Those are the types of places that you're going to be getting those type of pay, particularly if you're in a place like New York City where the cost of living is very high. Okay, so as we look at industries, I've said in other videos that industries are really important. What I'm not seeing in here is things like aviation, government, those kind of government is in here at a 2.7%. But some of the industries, oil and gas, that we've seen in other places that are a lot more practical applications to engineering are not on here. What is on here that we haven't really seen in other engineering schools is nonprofits. Again, because this data is not just for engineering, it's hard to know who goes into these things. But something to consider, a lot of these actually the top 5 are all looking at like management, consulting, investment, financial type roles. And so if you want to get an engineering degree but want to go into that type of role, then this might be a good opportunity or a job for you. But if you're looking at doing something that's more focused on actual design or spending your working days doing something that is traditional engineering, you may or may not have that opportunity with a Columbia University degree. So that's a review of all the data that's available for Columbia University. I hope you found it helpful. Please like and subscribe so that you can get other videos, and let us know if there are other schools that you'd like us to look into, and we will get on those. Have a great day.